Good evening and welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cryptocurrency Podcast. I'm your host, Eric English. My background is in IT. I worked in IT for about 9 years and worked in information security and cybersecurity for the last 6 years. So a total of 15 years of experience. I hold several certifications, including CISSP, CEH, and a few others. And my two passions are cybersecurity and cryptocurrency. So I haven't seen any other podcasts that talk about both of those topics, and those topics intersect quite a bit. So I wanted to be one of the first to create a podcast that talked about both of those topics. Because I'm extremely passionate about both. So, without further ado, we do have a few news-related things I wanted to talk about today. And I want to talk about something that happened at my job and how we responded to that, our incident response, how well we performed in that incident response, and what we could have done better to hopefully, if other incident responders hear this podcast, they won't make the same kind of mistakes that we did. Essentially, in a nutshell, what happened was a business email compromise. And what a business email compromise is when a user has, they get a phishing email. And they click on the link in the phishing email, and it takes them to a login page telling them that they need to log into their email. And so they do log in, and little do they know they've logged into a phishing site, and now the hackers have their username and password. The hackers then take that username and password, and they've compromised your business email account. This happens quite a bit. It's happened at least, I would say, twice a month at my current job, if not even more than that. In some instances, we've had it 3 times a month. That's how prevalent this is. And at my current job, we use Proofpoint as our spam filter, and it doesn't catch everything. Because a lot of times, what these hackers do is they put links inside of PDF documents that a spam filter can't necessarily read. The spam filters check links in the body of the email, not links in documents that are attached to the email. So that's kind of a new tactic that a lot of these hackers are using. They'll put it in a PDF or a Word document with a link in it that takes that user to a phishing site to get their username and password compromised. So we had a user that did that, and she put in her credentials on a phishing site. The bad guys logged into her email account and spammed everybody in our company, as well as everybody in her contacts list, with the exact same phishing email to try to compromise even more people. Throughout our company, we had, I would say, 15 to 20 people that also clicked on the link and input their credentials. So that was 20 more accounts that were then compromised. So very scary situation. As this is all unfolding, of course, I went to lunch when it started, and we tried to we use Office 365, so we tried running a script that will go and remove an email from your O365 mailboxes. So it searches through all mailboxes to try to remove this. I wrote that script because of these type of incidents that have been happening. I do have it on a GitHub page, and I'll share that in the show notes from today. But the script is just a menu-based script. Press 1 to do this, 2 to do this, 3 and 4, whatever. One of the options is to search all mailboxes within your organization and find this email based on subject line, date, sender, yada, 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 and remove it from everybody's mailbox. So that quarantine process with that script takes anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how big your organization is. We have, close to 800 employees, so it takes a while to run that script on our environment. So a smaller environment may only take you 5 or 10 minutes. But being that ours is so massive and that email went to everybody, that script was too slow. And 20 or 30 minutes is way too long, and other people had been compromised during that 20 or 30 minute time frame. The other issue that we found, there was a second email sent from the original compromise. The originally compromised account sent a second email about 45 minutes later with a different subject line. And so here I am quarantining one email with one subject line. Little did I know a second email was sent. Now, we reset this person's password as soon as we heard that they had been compromised, and as soon as we saw that email go out, we reset her password. Well, the problem there was the hackers had already logged in, and they had an active session going. So the one thing we did not do, and we learned from this incident, is that we did not deactivate any active sessions or kill any active sessions. So you want to disconnect everybody, all active sessions, and reset that user's password to help prevent any further phishing emails from going out. So we did not do that. A second email went out, and another 15, 20 people clicked and gave credentials to that. In the end, we had 40 or 50 people that had been compromised. We were doing all kinds of password resets and virus scans to make sure that nobody's computers were infected, and so on and so forth. It was quite the ordeal. And I look back and I think, how could I have mitigated this? How could I have done better? And the one thing, killing that active session, was one part of it. But really, to mitigate this completely, two-factor authentication would have mitigated this in damn near every scenario that I can think of. Sure, there's incidents where people get, their cell phone compromised or whatever, and the hackers have access to their cell phone as well, so the two-factor goes to that cell phone that's compromised. So that happens too. It's not nearly as common. So, I would much rather prefer, using two-factor with a cell phone than not using it at all. So I think that we really could have mitigated this with everybody in our organization being on two-factor. The problem there is nobody wants to be on two-factor authentication. Everybody thinks it's too much of a pain. Really, with Okta, it's extremely easy. You log into your account and you get a push notification to your phone. You unlock your phone and you hit accept. That's all you have to do. You don't have to type in a number. You don't have to do anything other than open your phone and type accept. Or tap accept. So it's extremely easy to do with Okta. But still, people think that even having to do that once a day is too much of a pain in the rear for them. And it's hard for me as a tech person to explain to executive management and people that don't understand security and they don't necessarily care in all cases. It's tough to explain all this stuff to them and help them really understand why we need this. So we are pushing to get two-factor for everybody. In the meantime, everybody that gave up their password, we did turn on two-factor for all of those people. So, if we continue getting these compromises, hey, who knows? In 3 or 4 years, everybody will be on two-factor anyway. But, two-factor really just eliminates a lot of this stuff. I was also doing some research and saw some pretty cool articles about continuous authentication, and I thought that was an interesting concept. Okta apparently has some of this. I haven't really messed with much of it yet, and I do plan on doing some more research on it. I'm really just looking for any way to help prevent this from happening again. The last thing I want to deal with is a business email compromise with, half of our employees, well, not half, but, 40 employees giving up their password. So it's the last thing I want to mess with. So my lessons learned were that we need to turn on two-factor for everybody, and we're even discussing turning on two-factor for our high-risk accounts and for our executive staff, because they are primary targets quite often. And kill any active sessions when this business email compromise does take over and does happen. Kill any active sessions that these hackers have. That way you can prevent it from sending another one. So anyway, I'll post a link to that script in the show notes if you want to check that out. It's on GitHub. The script for O365 to pull those emails out. So, aside from that, I'm not sure if you guys heard the stat, but business email compromise costs $12.5 billion a year for all these different businesses that have this happen to them. So that's a huge number, and it freaks me out because I'm on the blue team and defending, and to see those kind of stats and to see it actually happen to us and happen to us quite often, it's really scary, and it's a hard thing to combat. So watch out for those links in documents and PDF documents and Word docs, because they are sneaking those links in there and getting around the spam filters that way. So in other news, let's see, we talked about the incident that happened at my job. What was the other news topic? We were going to talk about traveling and how to keep yourself secure when you're traveling. So we had this recently come up at my job where we had one of our IT admins was traveling, and he was going to us on site with one of our locations, and he got on the plane, and he got on the plane's Wi-Fi. Well, little did he know there was a hacker on the plane, and that hacker took over his session that he had to our corporate firewall and started making changes on our corporate firewall. So that's always freaky. He basically just started turning stuff off maliciously, and we did catch it in time, but it could have been prevented. And so we had a discussion about how to prevent these kinds of things from happening while you're traveling, and even just in your personal life. If you're listening out there and you want to know how to keep yourself secure at home, or just when you're at a coffee shop or anything like that, really, this is great information. So the very first thing and the biggest way to keep yourself safe and secure is to use a VPN service. So if you're going to get on any sort of public Wi-Fi, and by public I mean hotel, airport, coffee shop, anywhere that's giving you free Wi-Fi, at the car repair place, at anywhere, at the the Lowe's or Home Depot, they have free Wi-Fi. Be very careful. Be very, very careful on that, because that's a great place for a hacker to set up shop and just start intercepting passwords and intercepting sessions and cookies and taking over what you're doing. So always use a VPN service of some sort, and there's quite a few out there if you want to do some research on them. One of the bigger ones that seems to be most popular is called NordVPN. It's NORD VPN. they seem to be the most popular, and you can do an annual subscription with them for, $50-$60 a year. So it's not very expensive, and it really helps you stay safe. And they even have an app for your phone and your tablet, and it works on PC and Mac and everything. I personally use one called Private Internet Access, and I've liked that one for quite a while. I've been using it for a while. And again, they have the apps for the phones and tablets, and works on all your computers too. So always, when you're on a public Wi-Fi of any kind, always turn on that VPN, because you never know who's on there waiting, watching, lurking, and trying to get information from you and trying to hack into your accounts. So always turn on that VPN. I'm even in the habit now where if I'm even at home and I'm on my work computer, I use the corporate VPN. I get on that corporate VPN and I do all my work stuff on my work computer on that corporate VPN. If I'm out of the office, it's always on. And so as a company, we're also looking at enforcing this as a policy that you have to be connected to the VPN in order to be able to do anything internet related on your computer, on your company computer, that is. So but anyway, check out those VPN services. They are personal VPN services. If you're super techie, you can set up a VPN to your house if your router supports that, and browse through that securely. Essentially, the VPN is creating a secure tunnel. They call it a tunnel. And it's so encrypted that nobody can decrypt it. Nobody can see what you're doing. All a hacker would see is just a bunch of encrypted data, and there's absolutely nothing that they can do with it. That's why the VPN protects you so well. So, highly recommend doing that, and that's part of what we discussed with all of our employees. Another big one for me, and for me personally, and an initiative we're also trying to push, is use a good password manager. Passwords are so easy to forget. Number one, that's probably the biggest thing. Oh, I forgot my password. They're very easy to compromise as well, because you'll use the name of your dog or the name of your kid and the year they were born, and it's easy, very easy to compromise. It's very easily guessable if anybody knows anything about you. So what these password managers do is they do exactly that. They manage your passwords, but essentially you can tell it to generate a random password for you, and it'll generate it for you, and it'll save it into that password manager. So all you really need to remember is the password to get into your password manager, which of course should be very long and very strong, because that's the keys to the kingdom. So that's that can be a risk as well if you don't set a strong enough password on your password manager. So I would strongly suggest a passphrase or a long sentence of some sort with spaces and numbers and punctuation and things like that in that sentence. So anyway, these password managers are amazing. I literally don't know what any of my passwords are, except for the one to get into my password manager. It is awesome. And some of these password managers actually can go out to specific, certain sites and change your password automatically for you. Like it'll go to Facebook or Southwest Airlines or American Airlines, whatever it is. It has a list of sites that it can go out and automatically change your password for you without you even having to log into that site. The one I use personally is called Dashlane. I'm not sponsored by any of these people. I'm just giving you my personal opinions here, but Dashlane is awesome for those specific reasons I just said. There's an app for your phone and tablet. It's cool on the phone and tablet. It actually when you log into an app, or you're trying to log into an app, a little bubble will pop up you tap on that bubble and Dashlane fills in your password for you. So it's really slick. I'm really enjoying it, and all of my passwords are long and don't make any sense, and they're all randomized, and I have no idea what they are, which is kind of funny. So if you don't want to do two-factor, and two-factor is just so much of a pain for you, get a good password manager and set that up, and let that, create passwords for you. Dashlane does have a free version. The free version, the limitation there is that it does not synchronize with all of your devices. So you can use it just on one computer. If you only have one device, which is pretty rare these days, then their free version's probably just fine. Or if you want to manually update your passwords, that's fine. Their paid version, I think, is between $40 and $60 a year. It's fairly inexpensive, and the trade-off there, the security that you get for such a low price. I mean, it's really incredible. So a lot of times you're only limited by the website that you're trying to log into. Some websites don't accept too long of a password or whatever, so, which I think is crazy. But highly recommend checking out Dashlane. It auto changes those passwords. There's browser plugins for it, so when you're visiting a website on your web browser, it'll automatically log you into that site. So very cool, and the security benefits there are just tremendous. So get yourself a password manager and get yourself a personal VPN service as well. Some of the other things we were talking about, as far as personal protection and protection for traveling employees, was turning on two-factor. We've already discussed that enough. I think I've beaten that drum enough, but just can't stress enough how important that is. So turn that on for everything you can, especially in the corporate world. For all of your domain administrators or any kind of admin, make sure that they've got two-factor set up on all of their admin accounts, because they have such privileged access. They could really, if they get compromised, that's not good. I mean, that's a huge risk to your business. So turn on that two-factor for those folks too. So that's really all I wanted to touch on in cybersecurity news today. The next topic that I was thinking of was some cryptojacking stuff that I saw recently. There's a new form of malware out there that it evaluates your computer to decide whether or not it's going to use your computer for mining crypto, or if it's going to encrypt all your files and they're going to hold your computer ransom. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it's either they're going to install ransomware on your system, or they're just going to use it for mining crypto, depending on what kind of computer that they've gotten a hold of there. So cryptojacking is getting huge. There's even websites now where you just visit the website, and you may not know it, but oftentimes they can have JavaScript on their website that when you just go to their homepage, it actually uses your computer's CPU to mine cryptocurrency for whoever that website owner is. We had one of our vendors, I don't think they knew it, but they were running a WordPress website, and they kept sending us these emails that had links to their website. And our Proofpoint folks caught it, and they said it was a crypto mining website. And I went to the site, and it looked like a legitimate business website, but I looked at the source code and found some JavaScript in there that had either been injected by a hacker or purposely put there by the web developer or whoever, maybe by the business owners, I'm not sure. But every time you go to their website, you're mining for crypto. So that's kind of an interesting tactic that people are using. There's a service out there called CoinHive. CoinHive.com, I believe, is their website. They do all this kind of stuff for you. The limitation there is it only mines for one type of cryptocurrency, but they basically give you the JavaScript that you need to put onto your website and all kinds of other stuff. So it's pretty interesting. They even do CAPTCHAs that'll mine on your computer for a certain amount of time before it lets you log in. So very interesting stuff. And I think it's funny that these hackers are now deciding whether or not they're going to mine crypto or encrypt all your files. So either way, a lot of these come in through email, and that's the biggest way that people get compromised is through email. And I can't stress it enough. I mean, email is so risky. Links and stuff in those emails are pretty much the only way that these things propagate, and your account gets taken over, then it spams everybody in your contacts with the same malware or cryptojacking malware, whatever it is. And it's extremely scary stuff there. But some more crypto stuff. It looks like the Ethereum blockchain is back to normal, based on what I read today. They had a huge spike in transactions there a couple days ago, and it's back down to its normal volume now. So the Ethereum network is a lot less congested now, so the transactions will be a lot quicker, smoother, and easier. So that's good news, and also transaction fees went back down to their normal levels, so that's great too. On a personal note, my mining rig at home, I've been having some issues with it. I was mining for SmartCash using Claymore dual miners, so I was mining Ethereum and SmartCash. And I really had high hopes for SmartCash, and I was mining away, and all of a sudden I started getting all these rejected shares and all these error messages, and come to find out that SmartCash folks did some sort of an update to their code, which caused the Claymore miner to mine incorrectly and start giving you errors. So Claymore 11.9 has been released, and that actually fixes the SmartCash mining issues there. So if you're also out there mining SmartCash, Claymore 11.9 will fix those errors if you're doing that dual mining like I am. Another kind of interesting thing, being that I'm in cybersecurity and I've got a mining rig at home, we were going to do some password cracking attempts, which I thought was kind of cool. We're going to take our admin passwords in our domain, take all those passwords, the hashes of those passwords, that is, and put them on my crypto mining machine, and try to hack into those or decrypt those, and crack the password with Hashcat. And being that I've got one system with 7 GPUs on it, we think that we can crack a lot of these passwords fairly quickly. So we're actually going to do it as a quarterly audit of our domain admin passwords to make sure that they're strong enough. We did this kind of an audit several months back, and we found that one of our domain admins had a pretty weak password. We were able to crack it with a dictionary attack, using some custom rules in Hashcat. But I think one of the rules in Hashcat was called Dead Hobo Rule, I believe it was. It was kind of funny, but it cracked the most passwords. It was pretty amazing. But we're going to use my mining rig as a password cracking rig on a quarterly basis, which I thought was kind of cool, to see if we can crack any of these domain admin passwords. And if we do, shame on you, reset your password, make it longer. So that's kind of a cool thing there. Let's see what else here. I lost some money, it looks like, with Bittrex. I sent some Ethereum to them a couple days ago when the transaction volume spiked, and it looks like I've lost 25 or 30 bucks. Kind of frustrated. They basically wrote back and said, the the deposit's not there. There's nothing we can do. Sorry for you. Even though I've got the transaction hash and everything. So that was rather frustrating. But luckily, it wasn't a whole bunch of money, so I guess it's not the end of the world. But I am swapping out a bunch of those coins that I'm getting for, I typically buy Komodo and Stellar Lumens, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, and Verge and Ripple. Those are kind of my go-tos that I'm trying to stockpile and hope that the market comes back. It kind of made a little bounce back yesterday and today, and it's been a little bit better. It's been Ethereum is close to 500, and so that's great. It's at 500 today, actually. So that's up from, it was damn near at 400 about 4 or 5 days ago. So that's great news for all the investors out there, and I hope that the uptrend just continues, and I hope that this December we get back to where we were last December and get Bitcoin way up to the 19 grand range, because Bitcoin rules it all. It determines the price of all the other coins as well. So anyway, I'm stockpiling as much as I can. I like there's a cryptocurrency wallet for your phone. It's called Coinomi, Coinomi, I believe it is, Coinomi, or however you say it. It's got a lot of support for a whole bunch of different cryptos, and makes it really nice, because I hate having 10 different wallets and you're trying to manage all these, and it's just a royal pain. But Coinomi stores quite a few of these cryptos, and I'm just really enjoying using their app, being that it supports all that stuff. So, and I'm actually able to mine directly to some of those coins as well in that wallet app. So really cool stuff. Really enjoying using that. Last thing on the crypto stuff, I've been tinkering around with creating my own cryptocurrency. I'm not much of a developer, and I think that's what's really going to hinder me in this whole process. But there's a few services that'll do this for you, that'll create your cryptocurrency for you, but man, they're expensive. What's amazing though about the crypto space is the open source nature of everything. All the code for Ethereum is open source. It's all out there on GitHub. I mean, Litecoin is all out there on GitHub. It's amazing, that people just post their code out there, and for the world to see and for the world to have. I think that's really amazing, really great for that community, and it just shows the decentralized nature of all these communities. A lot of the cryptocurrency exchanges are centralized, and I think we need more decentralization with these exchanges as well. I know there are a few decentralized exchanges too, but there needs to be a lot more. We need to keep it decentralized as much as we can. But so yeah, that's kind of a cool thing, a new project I'm working on. I found a website called coinlaunch.market, and they will actually launch an ERC token for you. You basically put in the parameters that you want, and they will launch that token for you on the Ethereum blockchain. And it's pretty cool, and they do one for free, and then they charge you for all the rest. But as we all know, a token is different from having your actual own separate cryptocurrency. But either way, I mean, that's pretty cool stuff there. So check that out if you're interested in setting up your own token, even if it's just to exchange with friends. It's coinlaunch.market. Pretty cool stuff there that I found on that topic. So I think that's all I've got for today. I'm still a little under the weather. I'm sorry about that. Sorry if I sound terrible. But I'm still getting over this summer cold. Somehow I got a summer cold, and it's extremely irritating, but I got one and I'm trying to get over it here. So sorry if I sound a little nasally today. But I hope you enjoyed The podcast, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at eEnglish34. And that's on Twitter, at eEnglish34. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Hit me up on Twitter if you have a topic you want me to discuss, or if you want to come on the show and talk about anything, we can certainly set that up too. So hit me up on there and give me some feedback about the podcast. Let me know what you like and what you don't like. And I'll try to make it as good as I can and adapt and change to what the audience wants. We're going to go live on iTunes Store here in the next few days. I'm going to post the podcast there, as well as on Spotify coming up here pretty soon. So all the iPhone folks will have an opportunity to listen to us as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we will talk to everybody again tomorrow. Thanks for listening.